25 degrees that take into account the specific measures that the Parliament gave over to the Cabinet this weekend. 25 decrees has never before been seen for such a Cabinet meeting. Given the current exceptional circumstances, we figured that we needed to have exceptional measures to be taken. A number of steps have been gone through over the past few days, Thursday, Friday, then Saturday, for us to be able to vote through the current state of health emergency bill. Given the number of decrees that we will bring into effect, our country, from a legal standpoint, is well equipped to be able to deal with the health crisis that we're facing. The aim of this provisory, temporary system is for us to be able to better serve our citizens. First and foremost, the health professionals who are on the forefront of this battle. Not only do we encourage them and support them, but I would like to make special mention of the fact that we are hearing their concerns and we are ensuring that we can provide the necessary protective equipment for them, temporary housing and funding as well. For these are the government's current priorities. Our aim is to mitigate the severe economic and social outfall that may come from the current confinement and lockdown procedures in place. First, support to companies. First of our decrees covers a number of solidarity funding measures, exceptional measures, to keep the most vulnerable enterprises afloat. It is ensuring that they have enough cash flow to avoid them going under, to avoid them firing and laying off any of their staff. We have €1 billion on the table, 250 million coming from the regional budgets, and this fund is open for small companies, micro-enterprises, those people who are most affected, directly affected by the current crisis. This will be there to cover utilities bills, gas, electricity, water, rent. It will also put in place and allow them to defer payments. It will also protect all industries from the holiday and vacations industry, the telecommunications industry. For all of these specific industries, we will provide future legal framework structures to help them deal with the upcoming crisis. Second point, protecting the most vulnerable. We are extending all eligibility requirements for unemployment benefits or other social security benefits. All forms of benefits for adult disabled people, allocations for parents looking after disabled children, and the list goes on. These are the sorts of measures that we are putting in place to ensure that these people can also have financial safety. For those people who benefit from unemployment benefits, they will also be able to continue to benefit from them over the coming months. 31st of May is the end date for the winter hiatus, which is put on housing from which no one will be able to kick out of their homes. Also, additional measures have been put in place to help people pay their gas and electricity bills. We also have additional measures for home care services for children. The third area is that labour law has been changed to ensure that we are in a time of a war economy. And there are a number of conditions under which companies can temporarily can put in specific measures to cover Sunday work, overtime hours, and again, all of these measures which modify that are only temporary. In terms of working hours, I will hand over in a few moments to the Labour Minister to cover those in more detail. For the public service, we are putting in special measures for all medical and socio-medical services to ensure that we can guarantee the amounts of funding that the government will give to them. For example, a number of surgeries will have to be taken off the schedule if they are deemed not essential and not necessarily. This is a way of ensuring that the medical sector will have enough means and enough resources to be able to deal with the crisis at hand. In terms of support and protecting all of those people taken into the medical system, we have to provide enough support for them in hospitals as well as support that they will receive at home. As for the legal sector and the judicial sector, we have to ensure that we can continue to act accordingly, given the current rules of confinement. This is just the first load of 25 decrees, and there will be further decrees coming in a few days. And when I say in the coming days, the state will take over the payment of all salaries for those companies most affected by the crisis, and that is up to 4.5 billion euros. And again, these are measures that the Labour Minister will touch upon, these essential measures, in just a few moments, because these are measures that will enable all the companies most affected by the crisis to bear the brunt. All of those employees, apprentices, part-time workers, there are a number of measures that we have also brought into effect. Again, before I hand over to each of the ministers to touch upon their respective decrees, there is something I would like to mention. These decrees enable us to bear the brunt of the greatest shock that our country is currently facing. This is a health crisis, and it is a state of emergency, a health emergency, that we are focusing on. But on top of that, this crisis will also bring about an economic crisis, a social crisis. We are only in the first days of this crisis, and the French president asked the government, to take all necessary measures that will enable us to continue in the long haul. So we are preparing for the long haul, and altogether we will be able to deal with this crisis.